We go now to the second portion in Shemot, the portion of Vaera. And this is where God tells Moses the specifics of his mission to confront Pharaoh and ask for the release of the Israelites from Egypt. And the word of the Torah is that God tells Moses, I will take them out from under the burdens of Egypt. The Hebrew word is mitachat sivlot Mitzrayim, from underneath the burdens of Egypt. And the Rebbe of Gur pointed out that the word sivlut has another meaning also. It also means tolerance. And he said that one of the problems that Moses faced was that the Israelites had become tolerant of being slaves. They didn't see enslavement as being something horrible. They felt it was the kind of normal state of life. And we see the importance of this as to what happened after they were liberated. And they were in the desert, and they were given the manna, which came from heaven every day. And what do they say to Moses? We'd rather go back to Egypt where we had better food. Go back to Egypt where you had better food, where you were enslaved, where your children were thrown into the Nile. There's a message there. We can become inured to something. We can become so callous that we don't feel how terrible it is. We may long for the good old days, which were actually bad. And so we ought to be very careful. There are things of which we should not be tolerant. There are many social evils that need to be uprooted. But sometimes the reason we do not take a greater action is because we've accepted them as a normal part of life. And this is why God told Moses, the first thing that I must do is take them out of the tolerance of slavery. I want them to realize the true value of freedom and that slavery is despicable. And that is a message for us, not only in regard to freedom and slavery, but to realize that there is a danger in becoming indifferent to things that are really bad, and that we ought to, at all times, keep on the alert that we retain our true moral values, regardless of whatever society says. True moral value is absolute and is not changed, not by Congress, not by the courts, not by social contract. True moral values are the values that the Torah tells us as to how people should behave. And we ought to keep ourselves always on the alert that we do not lose those moral values because of external pressures.